So guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. Hope you guys are staying safe. So guys, we just had the post. I'm just gonna do a post-fight reaction on Smith or Canelo v Smith. Um, Listen, firstly, I want to congratulate Smith. I think he put up a very valiant effort, showed a lot of heart. He showed that he's definitely got a good chin. He's showed heart, but I expected that. He's a bigger man. He was a lot bigger than Canelo. You expected him to be able to take Canelo's shots. Now I did think he would stop Canelo. I thought I got it wrong. I thought Canelo would stop him late. And I do think the corner could have probably pulled Smith out just because I think he was taking a beating. I think he was getting beat up towards the end of the fight. But I was a little disappointed by Smith's performance. I thought his performance wasn't great, if I'm honest with you. And listen, I was one before the fight that actually thought Callum Smith had a chance. And I like Callum Smith. I was a fan. I've always said that I felt that he could reach the level of the likes of David Haye, Amir Khan, Carl Froch. I thought he could reach those guys' levels in what those guys achieved with the fighters that they beat. But unfortunately, I think his career's not panned out very well. I think he's only had one world level guy who wasn't an elite fighter, and that was George Groves. George Groves was a world class fighter, but he wasn't an elite fighter, and that's the only win on his resume, and Groves was past his best. It's not been a very well, as I said, his career's not been structured very well. You can't expect to fight the fights that Callum Smith has been fighting and then go in there with Canelo Alvarez and beat Canelo. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to, you're just not going to beat Canelo if you haven't got the experience. You need to been in there with world-class fighters to have stand a chance, And really, if we're honest, Smith won 1 or 2 rounds maximum. I don't think he won more than that. He was dominated and lost easy. It was quite a comfortable win for Canelo. Comfortable. Smith was missing a lot of shots. If you look at the compu box, Smith only landed 18%, I believe. I think 18% of his punches. He threw about 536 punches, landed 97. Canelo landed almost 50% of his punches. He landed 57% of his power punches to Smith 20%. Canelo was walking him down the whole fight, and I don't understand why Smith was fighting on the back foot. I don't understand, because when you're fighting on the back foot, you've got no power in your punches. You got no power in your punches. I don't understand. When Khan fought Canelo, he was the smaller man. He was boxing with Canelo in the center of the ring. Even when he got knocked out, he was in the center of the ring. Why Callum Smith, who's a bigger man, going back on the ropes and fighting on the ropes? I don't understand. If Khan, who's a lot smaller than Smith, way smaller, like 4 weight classes apart, was boxing Canelo from the center of the ring, why the hell is Callum Smith going on the back foot and fighting on the ropes? That was you're basically handing the fight to Canelo on a plate. Lose your reach, but again, it's easier said than done with guys with limited experience at world level. Like I said, Callum Smith, how many former world champions has he faced and beat? He hasn't got the experience to fight and beat someone like Canelo. He doesn't know how to use his physical advantages that he had. And what impressed me about Canelo is the fact that Smith had no power. Smith couldn't do anything with Canelo. Smith couldn't stop him. Canelo just kept walking forward, and as if it was eventually became a bit like sparring practice for Canelo in there. Target practice just became so easy. For Alvarez. Just disappointed really. I always thought Smith had the ability to be something very good, but to be honest, he let me down in that fight. I wasn't really impressed. I wasn't impressed, and I'm a Smith fan. I like Callum Smith, but I just think the performance for me, I was expecting more from Smith. I was expecting more. Maybe I overestimated Smith's ability, but it didn't seem to me like he was sharp. Canelo just looked so much sharper, so much quicker. He looked the bigger puncher. He looked the stronger fighter in there. Smith didn't really look like it was one-sided, really. I've got to be honest, and trying to be as nice as I can. It was one-sided in Canelo's favor, really, all the way through. All the way through, I thought Canelo dominated. I thought he dominated. And Smith was probably one of Canelo's easiest win. And that fight to become a unified champion. Canelo's just become a unified champion at 168. And if you look at Canelo after the fight, he looked fresh. You wouldn't if you had seen Canelo after the fight, you wouldn't have thought he'd been in a fight. It was so comfortable, so easy for him. Like it was a mismatch, really. I've got to be honest. I thought it was a mismatch. I thought it was a mismatch. If I'm honest, I thought it was quite easy. It was comfortable. Canelo just did what he wanted. And I'm really disappointed with Smith's performance. I was expecting so much more. I wasn't expecting it to be as one-sided as that. Honestly, I didn't. I thought Smith would do bits in there, and that's why I'm gutted, because I like Callum Smith. I think he comes across a really classy guy. He was a good fighter. And listen, the other thing was that you got to give him respect because he showed a lot of heart and a lot of toughness, and also apparently he detached his bicep, which again his arm looked messed up, but. I just expected more, man. I expected, like I said, Callum Smith to do bits in there, and just disappointed that we didn't see a better Smith, because I felt with the physical advantages he had that he would be able to use those. And all really that Callum Smith showed me in that fight is toughness. He showed me he's got a good chin. He showed me he can take punishment. He showed me he's got heart. But that's not going to win you elite level fights. And like I said, I think it's poor management. I don't think he's been managed well. I don't think his career's been structured well. When you've had 27 fights, you're undefeated, and you've only fought George Groves in your career that you could say is world class, really. And then the fight before you had it with John Ryder, who's really fringe world level. He's not even world class. Or going into that fight with Smith, he wasn't even seen as world class. And Ryder probably beat him, right? So I think that fight, again, was a writing on the wall. But I was like, boxers can have off nights. And Callum Smith can have an off night, but he'll be more motivated against Canelo. But Callum Smith, after the fight, said, I need to move to 175, not as dominant. And maybe he's going off his last two performances against Ryder, which wasn't great. And obviously against, what's his name? Canelo was obviously a shutout loss for Smith. But I think he needs to probably move to 175. I think he's a big 168. But I don't want to make excuses for him. I think he just got beat, and he wasn't. I think there's levels to this, as we say in boxing, the cliche in boxing. There's levels to this, and unfortunately for Smith, he's nowhere near in Canelo's class. He's just not in the same class. If you look at guys like Danny Jacobs, guys like Austin Trout, Lara, those guys' fights were close. Danny Jacobs won, 4 or 5 rounds in that fight? Lara, a lot of people thought he won the fight, But Callum Smith virtually lost every round, So, again, I was just disappointed, man. I was expecting more from Smith. I was expecting for him to put more dent on Canelo. I was expecting him to win more rounds. Now, in terms of looking at Canelo in his future, a lot of people want to see him fight Beterbiev. I want to as well, because I don't think there's anyone that can beat him in these weight classes. A lot of people keep talking about Billy Joe. He's not going to beat Saul Canelo Alvarez, I promise you. A lot of people thought Smith had a chance. He's not. Billy Joe's a good boxer. He can box. I'll give him that. But Billy Joe can't hurt Canelo. Canelo, all he's going to do is walk Billy Joe down. And I don't believe Billy Joe's got the chin like Callum Smith. And I don't believe he's got the toughness like Callum Smith. And I believe Canelo would knock him out. Because there's no power. If you can't hurt Canelo, you can't win. Or, Golovkin, why Canelo in that first fight, a lot of people thought he lost. I thought it was close. I thought both fights were very close. A lot of people thought Golovkin won. But Golovkin, Canelo was worried. Canelo was tired in that fight against Golovkin. Canelo was worried about Golovkin's power. If you look at when Canelo fought Golovkin, Golovkin had Canelo on the back foot. And that's your best chance of beating Canelo. If you can't hurt Canelo and Canelo doesn't respect your power, you're not going to beat him. You're just not going to beat him. You can't beat him. You know, Golovkin, the reason why he had a chance and the reason why Golovkin probably won the first one is because Canelo was worried about Golovkin's power. Canelo was fighting on the back foot against Golovkin. Golovkin was pushing Canelo back. Callum Smith couldn't do that. Billy Joe won't be able to do that. And Billy Joe's not Mayweather. Mayweather stood on the ropes against Canelo and made Canelo miss and schooled him. Billy Joe's not got that kind of skill. Billy Joe's a good boxer, move in and out, but firstly, I feel his stamina's not great. I feel Canelo, when he's gonna push Billy Joe and he'll push him, I think Billy Joe will just tire. I think Canelo's too good. Honestly, I think the only thing that's gonna beat Canelo is if he bites off more than he can chew. And I honestly, people may disagree with me. I think he beats Beterbiev. I do. I think Canelo beats Beterbiev. I do. I think Canelo's just a beast. He's just a beast. He's just a beast of a fighter. And I don't see anyone in around these weight classes beating him. I don't. He's such a strong and big and tough granite chin. Like, the guy's unbelievable. He's an all-time great. You know, his resume is on another level, really. How many former world champions has Canelo beat? Flipping hell, he's beaten loads. Loads. He's beaten so many former world champions, it's scary. To have beaten that many former world champions in your career, and he's still in his prime. It still looks like he's got a long way left in his career. It's not like his career's done. He's still feels to me like he's going to go on for a long time. Man, the guy's a beast. He's a beast. He's a legit 4-weight world champion now. I didn't look at him as a 4-weight world champion because of the fact that I didn't think Rocky Fielding was a legitimate champion. He's now a legitimate 4-weight world champion. Quality fighter, great fighter. And I think he beats them all. I do. That's my opinion on him. Leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. But Canelo Alvarez dominates Callum Smith and beats and wins a one-sided points decision. Leave your thoughts, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.